Well, ladies and gentlemen, it wouldn't be another day unless Paul Tassi over at Forbes was making some BS article about Dragon Age the Veilguard and running damage control for the mainstream industry that he loves to show for to maintain his access. Well, we have yet another one of exactly what I just mentioned. Apparently, according to Paul Tassi, Dragon Age the Veilguard is getting review bombed.
Are you retarded?
Yes, ladies and gentlemen, according to Paul Tassi, Dragon Age the Veilguard is getting review bombed. This is exactly the same man who has no problems letting review bombs happen in the other direction. He's perfectly fine with review bombs being done positively. 10 out of 10, stunning and brave comments with nothing that actually gives you any inclination that the person played the game, but he's okay with that as long as it's a 10. But the moment you give it a 1, 2, 3, or a 4, he suddenly thinks it's review bombing and gets angry. Well, apparently Metacritic does the exact same thing or has the exact same mindset because they're apparently responding to the supposed review bombing by changing up things on their website. So let's get into this video, guys, from Forbes. But of course, before we do, if you are new here, just consider hitting that subscribe button. I would greatly appreciate it and like the video to push us out into that YouTube algorithm. So again, it says Metacritic responds to Dragon Age the Veilguard review bombing. Metacritic user scores are frequently used as a protest metric for certain games for one reason or another. As an outlet that does not require you to own a copy of the game to rate it, unlike Steam, PlayStation, or Xbox. As such, a wide divide opened up the Dragon Age the Veilguard's launch between Metacritic user scores and those other platforms. Here's an updated recap. So Steam is at 73%, mostly positive. PlayStation at 4.3 out of 5 stars. Xbox 4 out of 5 stars. Metacritic 3.8 out of 10. Asked to comment about the slew of Metacritic user scores describing Veilguards with terms like woke, DEI, propaganda, agenda-driven, and so on, they issued the following statement. We take online trust in safety very seriously across all of our sites, including Metacritic, a spokesperson said. Metacritic has a moderation system in place to track violations of our term of use. Our team reviews each and every report of abuse, including but not limited to racist, sexist, homophobic, etc., and if violations occur, their reviews are removed. Now, I want to make something very clear about this when it comes to these review scores, okay? The other websites that he mentioned, Steam, for example, which has been known to delete reviews, okay? I don't know if you guys are aware of that, but Steam has been proven in the past to filter and delete reviews. As much as we love Steam, Steam does do that. PlayStation and Xbox is the same exact thing. We're talking about heavily filtered reviews. And not only that, let's also be a little bit honest here. When it comes to console gamers, they're a little bit used to eating shit more so than PC players. So when something comes out on PC, you're more likely to find a non-filtered review on PC versus consoles. Consoles are almost always going to be highly rated, no matter what the game is. It's just how it goes. I don't remember the last console game that was ever rated like super terribly. You know what I mean? Compared to PC games, but that's neither here nor there. When it comes to this particular game in general, they're offering a lot of protection for Dragon Age the Veilguard. We know this. You know this. They're doing that because this game has the message, right? This is a game that has the message. It's not any message, it's the message. The most important message of all. And they're going to try to protect it as much as possible. We already knew this game was going to be a commercial success. I don't know if anybody that's looking at Dragon Age the Veilguard and thinking that this game was going to have bad reviews, right? I don't think that's possible. This game is going to have, at the worst, an IGN 7 out of 10. You know what I mean? But even IGN gave it a 9 out of 10, which I called, by the way. Totally knew they were going to do that. But still, this game was never going to be rated terribly because nobody wants to run the risk of losing their access by rating Dragon Age the Veilguard terribly. No mainstream website's going to rate it bad. No shill on YouTube is going to rate it bad. And like I said, at the worst, it'll get a 7 out of 10, but most of them are going to give it a 9 out of 10 because that is the best number to give without being an absolute shill at a 10 out of 10. So anyway, then it says the following. The question is what Metacritic actually labels as abuse and if many of these reviews meet those terms. The term woke may not be considered racist on its own, neither is accusing the game of propaganda on its face, but DEI, it's unclear what Metacritic thinks and how many reviews have actually been removed here too. Not many from the look of it, but the game has 5,267 reviews and the listings with all those terms remain. Since I first covered the user scores, it only risen from 3.4 to 3.8, still not reflecting reflective of other platforms with their ownership requirements. Now, again, ladies and gentlemen, I want to make it very clear that it seems like Paul Tassi is advocating for censorship against certain terms, which would not surprise me considering that he is a mainstream establishment shill and needs to protect that particular access, and by doing so tries to devalue what other people might say or do depending on the terms that they use, right? If you want to start banning terms like woke, DEI, and everything like that, then you should just ban the other terms as well. Racist, homophobic, sexist, all these other terms that have lost their meaning over time because they get used too much. You should ban those too. But let's be real, you're not going to do that because that is what goes for your narrative. And I think it's insane that we have a journalist openly advocating for what seems to be a banning of certain words being used. Then it says it's clear Metacritic is using a somewhat narrowed criteria to remove reviews, as simply saying a game goes against your politics, which is why you're giving it a 0 out of 10, is probably not grounds for actual removal. Again, this guy is so fucking disingenuous, and a lot of these people are disingenuous in the mainstream when they talk about the argument from this particular side of the aisle, because they try to downplay it in the smallest, simplest form, so that way they can put you in a box and then say that that box is invalid, right? If you really think that the entire argument for this game is, oh, it goes against our politics, thus we don't like it, you're retarded in every facet of the word. You clearly are just a mainstream show, which again, I understand that's what you're supposed to be doing. That's your job. That's your role. But you are just retarded. That's just what it is. We have spoken about so many different aspects of this game, a lot of which doesn't even have to do with politics, and you choose to ignore all of that and focus on the politic aspect of it because that's what's most important to you, Paul Tassi, right? Politics are the main thing that's important to Paul Tassi. So he wants to get these reviews silenced or somehow more verified versus the 10 out of 10s that say amazing or 10 out of 10s that say stunning, right? 10 out of 10s that are just so obviously fake, so obviously bots, but you don't want to do anything about those. You just want to focus on the 1 out of 10s, the 2 out of 10s, the 3 out of 10s, and the 4 out of 10s. That's what you want to focus on. You want to basically artificially increase the average of the user score. That's what you want to do by filtering words that you feel like should be banned. Then it says some review sites like Rotten Tomatoes have tried to implement systems where you verify that you've seen a movie to rate it, though they have not managed to figure out a system to do that for TV shows. Here, given that Metacritic does not sell the actual game, there's probably no way to do this here either. So you're simply going to have to take these user scores for what they are, which, again, what are you trying to say? Dragon Age Veilguard's actual Metacritic scores has dropped from 84 to 83 since launch, at least on PS5. On PC, with half the reviews in, it's a 79. EA has yet to issue any firm data about sales, and we'll see if that changes anytime soon. I think that if you do not believe the negative reviews for Dragon Age the Veilguard because you quite simply maybe have an ideology you're trying to push, whatever, if you really don't believe that the reviews are genuine, the bad reviews are genuine, then what you just said at the end of this is all the proof that you need that things are not looking good for this game. EA of all companies has not revealed sales numbers for a game that has a lot of controversy around it, right? I feel like they could try to, silence a lot of controversy if they just release the numbers and prove that they are a massive success, right? Which, by the way, 1 million sales, yeah, that's not a massive success for Dragon Age of Veilguard. You need at least 4 to 5 million to break even on that insane budget that you have for this game. So you need to start putting out some numbers. Otherwise, that's going to be all the proof that anybody needs to know that this game's a failure. Considering that EA is radio silent on this, I'm going to have to imagine that's probably the case. So anyway, guys, thank you so much for watching this video. Hope you did enjoy. And if you did, consider leaving me a subscribe. I would greatly appreciate it. Don't forget to like the video, comment, let me know what you thought, and I'll see you guys on the next one. Hypnotic out.